There is a theory often discussed in whispers that three cities form the true centers of global power. Not in the sense of ordinary cities, but as unique, almost independent hubs of influence. These three cities are Vatican City, said to control global religion and moral authority; Washington, D.C., the headquarters of modern geopolitics and military might; the City of London, a financial stronghold that manages cash flows and wealth around the globe. Each of these cities is distinct. Each has a unique role. But together, they form what some call the Empire of the City. In this documentary, we will explore the history, the myths, and the undeniable facts about these three cities. We will uncover how they rose to power, what influence they hold today, and why they matter in shaping the future of our world. Vatican City, the spiritual capital. At first glance, Vatican City looks small, almost insignificant. Less than half a square kilometer in size, it could fit inside many ordinary neighborhoods. Yet this tiny enclave in the heart of Rome is one of the most powerful religious centers on earth. The Vatican is the seat of the Roman Catholic Church, the largest Christian denomination with more than 1.3 billion followers worldwide. At its head is the Pope, a figure who serves as both spiritual leader and head of state. Historical influence. The Vatican's power stretches back for centuries. During the Middle Ages, popes wielded influence that rivaled kings and emperors. Rulers would travel to Rome to seek the Pope's blessing because without religious legitimacy, their rule was often questioned by their own people. Consider the example of Henry IV in 1077, who famously stood barefoot in the snow outside the Pope's residence in Canossa, begging forgiveness. The Pope's ability to excommunicate rulers gave him a power that few institutions in history have ever held. Wealth and treasures. The Vatican is not just a religious institution, it is also one of the wealthiest states in the world. It houses priceless art, including Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel ceiling. The Vatican museums hold collections spanning thousands of years of history. Beyond art, the Vatican owns significant real estate in Rome and across the globe. The Vatican Bank, officially called the Institute for Works of Religion, manages billions in assets. For decades, it has been accused of secrecy and even corruption, though its defenders argue it funds missionary work and global charities. Modern influence. In today's world, the Vatican's influence may seem less visible, but it remains powerful. It maintains formal diplomatic relations with over 180 countries. Popes play critical roles in peace negotiations, humanitarian missions, and global moral debates. For example, Pope John Paul II is credited with inspiring resistance movements in Eastern Europe during the Cold War. Pope Francis has spoken on climate change, refugee crises, and inequality, making headlines worldwide. The Vatican may not control armies or economies, but it controls something more enduring: faith and morality. Washington, D.C., the geopolitical capital. If the Vatican represents spiritual authority, then Washington, D.C. represents hard power. Washington is not just the capital of the United States. It is widely considered the geopolitical nerve center of the modern world. Military power. At the core of Washington's influence lies its unmatched military. The Pentagon oversees a defense budget of over $800 billion annually. The United States operates more than 750 military bases worldwide. With nuclear weapons, aircraft carriers, and advanced technology, the U.S. military ensures Washington's role as a global enforcer. This military presence allows Washington to shape global events directly. From interventions in Iraq and Afghanistan to influence in NATO operations, decisions made in Washington can affect millions of lives across continents. Political influence. Beyond the military, Washington is the hub of global politics. The White House sets us foreign policy. The Capitol creates legislation that can reshape global trade, sanctions, or aid. Agencies like the CIA and State Department operate worldwide, influencing governments and intelligence networks. Washington is also home to global organizations like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, IMF, both of which lend money to struggling nations, often with strict political conditions. Economic power. Perhaps most importantly, Washington holds power through the U.S. dollar. Around 60% of world trade is conducted in dollars. Countries that defy U.S. sanctions often find themselves locked out of global markets, since most transactions require access to American banking systems. Critics argue this system makes Washington a kind of economic empire, able to pressure nations without firing a shot. Symbolism: Washington represents not just the United States, but the modern concept of superpower dominance. It is where decisions are made about war, peace, alliances, and conflicts that affect the entire world. The City of London, the financial capital, the final piece of the puzzle lies in London. But not the London of Buckingham Palace or Big Ben. Instead, we turn to the City of London, a small district covering just over 1 square mile. The City of London is often called a city within a city. It has its own local authority, its own police force, and a unique governance structure that has survived for centuries. Financial power. The city is one of the most important financial centers in the world. It houses the Bank of England, one of the oldest central banks. The London Stock Exchange, trading billions daily. Headquarters of major global banks, insurance firms, and investment companies. Trillions of dollars move through the City of London each year. Currency trading, bond markets, and offshore wealth often flow through this tiny district. Historical role: during the height of the British Empire, the City of London was the financial engine behind global trade. It financed ships, colonies, and wars, fueling the spread of British influence worldwide. Even after the empire declined, the city reinvented itself as a hub of global finance, specializing in offshore banking and international markets. Today, it remains a central node in global finance, often working hand-in-hand with Wall Street and Asian markets. Hidden influence? Some argue that the City of London is more powerful than it appears. Its ancient rights and privileges allow it unusual independence from the British government. Some researchers even describe it as a hidden empire of cash, quietly pulling the strings of global finance. So what can we conclude? Vatican City represents religion, faith, and moral authority. Washington, D.C. represents politics, military might, and global diplomacy. The City of London represents money, wealth, and financial control. Some see this as proof of a grand conspiracy, 3 city-states ruling the world in unison. Others argue this is simply coincidence, the natural evolution of religion, empire, and finance. But one thing is clear: these 3 cities, each in their own domain, shape the world we live in today. They may not answer to each other, and they may not secretly meet behind closed doors. But their combined influence, spiritual, political, and financial, is undeniable. When you read tomorrow's headlines, whether it's about a war, a market crash, or a global debate on morality, look closely. The roots of those events may very well trace back to one of these 3 places: the Vatican, Washington, and London.